Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankin. It's going to be a fun one today. We're finally hitting our final decade series for action. Once again, this is another one of those things we started a little while ago when we started doing action movies that insert decades here, and then I've been trying to get this one done in a while, but yeah, we finally get to do it. But Matt, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. This started unofficially way back when we did best action movies of the 80s and 90s. That was when this journey started, all those many years ago. I've been on, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've been on every single one of these except for the 2010s. I think that's the only one I wasn't on. But aside from that, which means when we do the ultimate one, I got to be there to give my takes. This is fun. I will say this was the hardest list because there's a lot of movies that some people consider action movies from these years that I'm like, that's not an action movie. So it's kind of hard.
We also got Austin here. Austin, how's it going?
Yeah, no, I'm not as like ride or die for 60s or 70s action. I've seen almost all the stuff I came across, but like 80s is kind of my sweet spot, 90s a little bit. But yeah, there's still some good movies in here. So look, I got a list. If you guys say one of them that I like, I'll probably just say yes. I'm going to be pretty loosey-goosey on this one.
Yeah, this is one of those ones like I did 70s thing. Oh yeah, there was a lot of classic ones, but then I'm doing some further research. Some sites were telling me that like this is drawn and pretty much start. So it's like and 60s was unofficially like well, I found 60s as well just to give it a little more base because there's not a lot there to do a whole episode on 60s alone. I don't know why when I restarted this to combine 80s and 90s together. I have no idea why I did
because
that,
you could easily do just 80s and just 90s now.
Like which we did. Yeah, we did 80s and then we did 90s.
That's what I mean. We've done tier rankers on that, and there's plenty to go around. Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly, it was an early in Rankum. So
yeah,
it was. I think it was kind of just like, it'd be fun to do 80s and 90s because it's not like we're gonna do like 300 episodes of this shit and get to all year specific on all genres.
I mean, the craziest thing is, it's taken us almost 300 episodes to do an episode on Robin Williams because that's next week. But anyway,
oh wow, how about that?
That's crazy.
But anyway, enough about Robin Williams. That'll be next week. But how ranking works is everyone nominates a movie they think belongs on the top 12 list, and then if everyone else says yes or no, if it gets the majority of yeses, then it makes the list. Matt,
thank you for explaining the show to me, Malcolm. I think you missed that. You were trying to throw it to me and then forgot you didn't explain it. So you literally said, Matt, how rank works.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Motherfucker, I've been here since before the first episode started, okay?
I wanted to hear how it works. I might have forgotten since the 3 weeks ago I was on. No, it's all good.
Sorry, Austin. You don't get. Only I.
Damn. Well, go, damn it, Matt. You're up first. Hit us with something.
No, Malcolm didn't say that officially. And
I'm saying it.
Malcolm, you can't. You have no power here, sir. You're just a guest.
I'm a co-host. I'm a co-host. I'm a co-host for everybody.
No, you're not. You stay. Come on.
Matt.
There we go. There we go. This is gonna be a fun show. I already know. So I'm going with a movie that I'm hoping God Austin likes because me and Malcolm already had an almost falling out after I saw he watched this on Letterboxd and was not favorable on it. I'm going with 1979's Mad Max, the start of an incredible franchise that has two great movies, one iffy movie, and one movie I have a massive hot take on. I'll let you folks all decide which ones those are.
I know what it is. He doesn't like Fury Road that much.
Yeah, I don't. Road Warrior exists, people. Jesus. Watch movies from before 2000. But Mad Max, the original, it is, I mean, when it comes to the action genre, this was really one of the early like independent action movies that became really big. I mean, there's a direct line you could draw from this to Escape from New York, The Terminator. But just on its own merits, it's a really, really great movie. And unlike action movies that have a revenge aspect to them that will follow later, to where it's like, so in the first 15 minutes of the movie, you're going to see the main character with his family, and then they're going to be killed. This one, they let you live with that family, with Max and his friends. That way, when they start to be killed, you feel it like he does. And so when you get to that final act, you're almost kind of with him mentally of just like, screw Toe Cutter, screw all this. Obviously, this was one of the movies that introduced Mel Gibson to the genre, which he would later go on, I think, to perfect in his role in Lethal Weapon. But still, the direction, the action, and the fact that like it's all real. Like that's also, we're going to be talking about this, I think, a lot with this decade. It's just like all those car flips. That's all real. And there's some things that they didn't plan on happening in this, but they were like, well, camera was rolling and the guy didn't die. But yeah, so Mad Max is my first nomination.
Austin, what you say about the first Mad Max?
Yeah, it's on my short list. So yes, I actually rewatched it not that long ago. And yeah, it really works as a it's not the same format as like when you think of Mad Max, what you're really thinking about is like Road Warrior, because the Road Warriors is where kind of that format takes place of him like rolling into a situation and helping something out. But it started with this almost like an Australian grindhouse movie, because Australia had their own kind of grindhouse cinema in the 70s that's kind of bonkers and wacky. I've seen documentaries about it, and this is kind of the tail end of that. And no, it's good stuff. It's got good, again, car crashes, car chases, some good revenge action. It's on my short list also.
It's one of those ones like until last week, the only Mad Max movie I'd ever seen is Fury Road. But yeah, look, I thought it was decent. Like it's just one of those,
because it's Australian, he's New Zealand, so he has to.
Well, no, it's just no, it's one of those ones like, but like with the reputation I've heard from Mad Max, like I thought it was going to be sort of more actiony than it was. So and it was for the large part like I didn't expect like all I knew was like, because I'd only seen Fury Road, all I knew of Mad Max was it's all post-apocalyptic, it's all. But this is really not that much post-apocalyptic. It's more sort of mid-apocalyptic or whatnot.
It's set in the not too distant future to where things are bad, but the nuclear explosion hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the explanation they have for Road Warriors. They're like, well, fucking in between both movies, some nuclear explosion happened. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones like I didn't even like Fury Road that much either, but weirdly enough, I'm actually really hyped for the Fury Road that's coming out this year. I don't know why.
But, you're a massive Chris Hemsworth fan, and that's okay.
But I'm just gonna say no, but it's gonna make the list anyway. Mad Max is gonna make it. Austin, was the first movie you're gonna bring out?
I'll go for one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's a war movie that has amazing action in it and fantastic sequences. Let's go Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now. I talked about this when we did 70s action on Tier Ranker. When you finally get to it, there's that helicopter raid sequence. The Flight of the Valkyrie sequence is amazing. Like some of the greatest practical sort of helicopter explosions, everything in between that you'll ever see. A lot of the great stuff on the boats and the transport ships when they're going up and down the river, having the gun battles and whatnot. And there's some great kind of tension and action when he gets to the village at the end. War movies can be action movies as well. I think Apocalypse Now has some of the best there is to offer, especially in the 70s. So I'll go Apocalypse Now.
This is once again this whole episode could be Malcolm has light hot takes on movies. Look, well, it's one of those ones like I'm not as high on Apocalypse Now as other people are. I do think it's a good movie. I have no idea what version of it I watched because there's been so many different cuts. There's
the theatrical. Is there directors? I thought the
Redux and Final Cut, which is what I have on 4K.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's whatever cut they had on streaming service at the time.
Probably theatrical, most likely.
I think it was one of the director's cut because it was a bit like it was.
I've seen Redux on some streaming sites.
Yeah.
Did you spend 40 minutes at a French plantation? If so, you watched Redux.
It's been ages since I've seen it, so I don't remember about French plantations. But anyway, but it's one of those ones like I haven't seen a lot of movies, like action movies from this decade, and Apocalypse Now slides in at my shelf, my personal list. So I'm going to say yes. But Matt, what do you say about Apocalypse Now?
All right. This isn't so much a hot take, but I guess this is just one of those. You haven't seen that moment. I have not seen Apocalypse Now in its totality. I was in high school, and it was on. I'm trying to remember which one of the premium cable channels it was on, and obviously I heard so much at that point, starting to get into film and Nolan Coppola. So I was like, all right, let me watch this. And then I ended up being called away for something else, and I have never gone back to it. I don't know why. It's just one of those ways to slip through the cracks. So I have to say no, just based on the fact that I have never seen the movie. But I saw Harrison Ford's part in it. So, yeah. And I saw that great part in Hot Shots Part 2. So
yeah, I loved you in Wall Street.
I loved you in Wall Street.
Yeah.
But if that Apocalypse Now is still going to make the list, it's on to me. This I'm going to bring up one that I'm not too sure if people are going to go for this one because this did come up on a few action things, and I know at least one person on this panel really likes this movie, so I thought, you know what, I'll actually finally get around to watching this, and I'm going to bring up The Towering Inferno because this one came up on a few lists of action movies of the decades, and it's one of those ones like, yes, it's a disaster movie first and foremost, but it's also got a lot of really
disaster movies are action movies. It's just a different type of action. Again, but, you have to be loose with 60s and 70s because it was
you have to.
It wasn't bang bang shoot action. It was different.
It was where everything was starting. They were getting their feet wet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's what I was getting there. I really like this movie. Like this could easily end up on my 128 eventually. If I watch it a few times, like. It's a really good movie. I should have watched it when Austin had it on one of his top episodes or something.
It was on the disaster movie episode I talked about how much I liked it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then again, it's one I'm definitely going to try and find on physical media at some stage. Provided they haven't burned them all down by now.
Right.
But Matt, what do you say about Towering Inferno?
Jeez, oh God, I really hope that this is not this whole episode. All right, so I'm a bad person. I knew we were doing this show. I went out and rented another Steve McQueen movie that I really hope doesn't come up on this list. And I was at the library, of which it's not my main library, but it's one close by, and they had so many Stallone movies that I decided to rent Cobra, which I haven't seen before, and I skipped on Towering Inferno. No, but what I'm saying is I saw Towering Inferno was there, and it was like, I should probably rent this and watch this for Sunday, but then I saw Cobra, and I was like, Stallone movie I haven't seen. So I haven't seen it, but I do know one of Norm Macdonald's favorite people is in this film. So that should make for some unintentional funny moments when I do get around to watching this one.
But
I do have a movie from the same person on my list. That I will bring.
I was gonna say I just thought Malcolm brought it up in honor of O.J. Simpson. But
I didn't know we were saying his name or not.
I'll say his name. So what? He's dead. Who cares?
Yeah.
Listen,
Life's Killer is finally dead. He's happy now.
He's dead. So what? Anyways, I love 70s disaster movies, and Towering Inferno is a good one. It takes a little while to get going because it's a long movie, but once it does, again, there's really good. Practical fire effects and some good, building disaster stuff. And hell of an ensemble. Yeah, Steve McQueen's in there. A whole bunch of people are in there. Just everybody's recognizable, all these character actors and whatnot. So, I just forgot to put it on my list, Malcolm, but I'll say yes to the Towering Inferno. I just forgot about the disaster movies. That's all. I'm done.
No, I'll say one of the random people that I thought I saw on the cast list, like Fred Astaire.
Oh yeah, Fred Astaire's in there. Yeah, I feel like everybody's in that movie. They just would cast all these people. They would come in and do like little 10-minute parts and
That
leave.
was Disaster Bros
ridiculous.
at the time was like the
Yeah.
thing to be in because there's
Mhm.
again, like I said, there's a movie on my list that's the same thing. You're like, holy shit!
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna
in
lie,
this?
when I saw with the cast, I was like, so there's gonna be a dancing dancing on top of the fire.
Mhm.
But Towering Inferno is gonna make the list. But Matt, what's the next movie you're gonna bring up?
All right, we've been talking about how this is when the genre really started with these years, started getting their feet wet. Well, the franchise that you can say started all of this is, of course, James Bond. And there are several James Bond movies you can pick from, but I'm going with what I consider to be Sean Connery's best, which is Goldfinger. This movie it took everything great about Dr. No and From Russia with Love and just kind of improved on it. This is the Bond movie that really all the Bond movies afterwards kind of took their cues from. Pun not intended, that this is really when Q and the Gadgets really became the thing. You have the bad guy, and then you have the kind of henchman to the bad guy that became a formula that they used. And this is just Connery. I mean, I'm someone who I believe from his opening scene, he had this character, but I mean, 2 movies in, he's got this character down. He is just perfect in every single moment. Pussy Galore is an amazing Bond girl. Second only to one other from this era that I might bring up in the film that she appears in. But this is just a great movie. This is still a Bond movie that I say you can show someone who loves the Daniel Craig stuff, and I think they still will probably get enjoyment out of this one because it's just that good of a movie.
Mhm.
Austin, what do you say about Goldfinger?
No, I've seen all the Bonds. I was a little leery when somebody starts bringing up Bond because it's like, which one are you going to bring up? Because I can run hot and cold on a few of them. But no, out of the old school ones like the Connery ones stuff, yeah, this is the best one. So I'll definitely say yes to Goldfinger. Goldfinger's awesome, and yeah, this is kind of the one where they kind of I think found the rhythm and found that formula, like you said. Like Bond has the opening adventure, and then he goes and gets his mission, and goes and gets his gadgets, and meets another girl. Like there's a girl in the opening, there's a girl in the middle. Like there's different ones throughout the thing. Yeah, great henchman with Odd Job, and then good villain, just the typical just over the top, take over the world with the crazy scheme, type of villain. Bond getting it out of the wacky situations and whatnot. Yeah, this is the one that has kind of all the check marks and but in the best way possible. I mean, and yeah, Connery's just in his prime here doing his thing. So yeah, this is the one. If I had to pick one on my list, I would say yeah to Goldfinger.
My name is Pussy Galore. I must be dreaming.
Yeah.
But I mean, Sean Connery's another one that like outside of Bond, he's in a lot of other action movies in this.
Well, yeah, because he was James Bond. Duh.
Well, no. I was talking about outside of Bond, but like his name.
Well, he was also like a Mr. Universe.
He's playing Bond on the Rock.
Yeah. But yeah, this is one of those ones like I haven't seen Goldfinger. I've seen bits and pieces, a few Bonds. I can't remember what ones of these early ones I've actually seen and haven't. So I might have seen Goldfinger at one stage. Every time I decide, I'm going to do a Bond rewatch, Amazon Prime decides to take Bond off. Amazon.
Well, Malcolm, when you do decide to do a Bond rewatch, you and everyone else watching can go to our playlist here to where me and Manny went through every single one of the Bond movies, and then we ranked them. We went.
Well, this is the one that if people want to watch an old one, this is the one I tell them to go to first. Like, go watch Goldfinger first, and then get started. Like, just to dip your toes in, get the feel of them, see if you like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those ones. Like for me, I always want one from start. It's just.
I mean, Dr. No is a great movie too. So if you start with that,
Oh, I mean, I've seen Dr. No. Like, because every time I watched it both times. I started in.
He starts and the tail fails off. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine.
Because I mean, it's happened to me twice. Like Bond's been on Amazon Prime, like the entirety Bond's been on.
That's not just you. Bond is weird. I'm still surprised that when I wanted to watch a Bond movie that I might bring up later, I was really surprised it was still on HBO Max, because Bond is like that, where it's like, hey, we have all the Bond movies for 2 months, and then they're going to be gone, and then they'll appear on another streaming service for 2 months.
Well, I mean, it's one of those ones, like, and I'm not going to have this as a big like complain about streaming services, but Amazon Prime owns MGM. They could keep Bond on the whole time.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Well, what happens is, and I won't.
Well, it's licenses.
I know we're tangent.
Yeah.
People license these movies like 5 years in advance.
It's like when
and all this
HBO
shit,
Max
and they go.
started and they had all the DC movies, and then they had to give them all away because Stars had a deal, and everyone was like, "Wait."
Yeah, they have deals years in advance, so they have to do their contracts, and then they can settle permanently. If they
but yes, it is funny when the places that own these things don't get to keep them.
Anyways.
But also, you know how many fucking collections of DVDs exist, Malcolm? And you're telling me you're basing off of streaming sites to watch these things? Come on.
I mean, look, eventually I do plan on buying the Bond series.
Look, I have no response to that.
I'm
so mad about Willow with you too.
All right. Anyways, I got a hard out at 7:45. Let's keep rolling.
Oh, you didn't tell me that?
Yeah, let's go.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No, not like in 15 minutes, but later. We got to keep rolling. All right, let's do this. All right. Anyways, Malcolm, I'm going with Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee. Let's get some martial arts action and one of my favorite martial arts movies of all time. A movie that was kind of a prime basis for the Mortal Kombat saga and whatnot. A bunch of different fighters being brought to kind of an island with a big henchman guy, a guy with a big claw, and a couple other big giant fighters that he throws out there to try to kill everybody. There's some sinister things going on underground. Bruce Lee really just, at the top of his game here, and just being so cool and calm and collected. You have Jim Kelly with this big glorious afro doing his thing, bringing some spice to it. And John Saxon from Nightmare on Elm Street, they kind of them forming an alliance there. But excellent fights throughout the whole thing, including stuff where they're fighting like almost the entire island, and Bruce Lee's underground fighting every henchman they throw at him, and he's great. So let's get some martial arts action on here and go Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, I haven't seen Enter the Dragon. I'm not a big martial arts movie guy. Like, there's a couple I like, but it's one of those ones. Like, I also get that, like, Into the Dragon is also very influential as well, and it probably should be on here. And I did say, like Austin, like, I'm probably going to be more willing to do some blind guesses here, just because I haven't seen a lot from these decades. So I'll give a blind guess to Into the Dragon. Mm-hmm. Matt, what do you say about Into the Dragon?
All right, I guess this is maybe where I have to turn my action card. I'm not the biggest Bruce Lee fan. I respect everything that this man did for the genre, but I just have never found myself too attached to his movies. I've always, and I'll be perfectly honest here, I've always liked Way of the Dragon a little bit more just for the Chuck Norris fight, because I'm a big Chuck Norris fan, and I always like the fact that him and Bruce Lee fought. But
it's a good fight. It's just I don't think that movie's as interesting.
No. And that's, again, like I said, that's honestly, that scene is all I go back to in that movie. This is better than Game of Death, I can tell you that. I will say yes. This is more just for the list. I think it should be on here than like my personal preference, because I don't know what it is, man. I just never, like, I think because he was too ingrained to me by the time I started really watching action movies, like, Bruce Lee is amazing, but I'm just already a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. So I was like, I don't know, Bloodsport's better than this.
I like Bloodsport too, though. I'm ride or die on Bloodsport, but we're talking 70s, so
yeah. It doesn't count, So I'll say.
Speaking of James Bond, if you like James Bond movies, this is almost a James Bond movie too, because Bruce Lee's basically he's doing spy shit while undercover, like doing James Bond stuff during this thing as well. Yeah. So
there's that scene to where they cross paths from "You Only Live Twice," and he's like, "What's that?" But he's like, "Don't ask about it."
No, he goes,
and then they run the other way.
Have fun, anyways.
Bye. Why don't you with the Green Hornet?
Into the Dragon is going to make the list, and it's up back to me for my next pick. I'm just going to preface this by saying, do you feel lucky? Well, do you? I'm bringing up Dirty Harry. This is another one that I watched specifically for this, and I actually watched the first three. I was going to watch the whole franchise, but like some of them are 80s, and there's other things I wanted to watch for this list that I didn't. But I definitely will go back and watch them at a later date. I think maybe one of them actually made the 80s one, but anyway,
Can't remember.
But yeah, Dirty Harry was a lot of fun. Like Clint Eastwood has always been one of those interesting kind of actors. He's done sort of every. Like, I think he's done just about every type of thing. Maybe comedy. I don't think he's done a straight comedy before.
Whoa! Any which way but loose.
Kind of. I mean, but it's more the
he runs around with a monkey.
It's the monkey doing the comedy, though. He's not really doing the comedy. It's
I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't.
The whole movie is just him going, "Get a load of this monkey." Anyways.
But yeah. So Dirty Harry is great, and I think this could end up being like. I may think this may end up being perfect franchise once I've finished the other two, but because I really do like the other two in the series as well. But Matt, what do you say about Dirty Harry?
I gotta be honest here. I am right now skipping on the Dirty Harry marathon that's happening on Sundance Channel today that started because I was going to be on this. So I was like, I'm not going to start watching the first one, then get a little bit into Magnum Force, and then have to leave. I love Dirty Harry. I guess it's a hot take to say I prefer his role of Dirty Harry over the Man with No Name. And this first movie is it's incredible. It's from that really gritty time of the 70s, like the villain is really scary in this when he kidnaps all the kids. And Harry Callahan is just this super cool under pressure guy, like the opening scene, and then even the moment when he, because the partner asks him, he's like, why do they call you Dirty Harry? And then the scene where it happens to where he's like, you wonder why I'm called Dirty Harry. Yeah, Eastwood is just great in this. The whole movie is great. It's got, like I said, it's got a really good villain, and the final confrontation it's extremely classic for a reason. Did I shoot 5 times or did I shoot 6? It's amazing. Come on. Should be on the list. I think it technically is on the list already.
Yeah, no, it's on my list. So yeah, it'll definitely make it here. And yeah, it's one of the quintessential 70s cop, movies with their protagonist who just can't seem to get his act together, and the captain's always mad at him, and he just goes outside the law when he needs to. And yeah, it's really, really great. All these movies have good villains, creepy villains as well. But yeah, this one really started a hell of a franchise. So yeah, this one's a shoe-in for me. So yeah.
But Dirty Harry is going to make the list. Matt, what is your next nomination?
All right. Well, I really hope I don't screw myself over by doing this right after you did Dirty Harry, but I kind of just have to do it. I'm going with another cop movie. But this one stars Gene Hackman. I'm going with French Connection. I mean, this movie is incredible. We're talking about this, the era pioneering things. This movie still has to me the greatest car chase in any movie ever. The speed of which it happens, the ferocity of the movements of the camera, but even everything else. You have the shootout at the end. You have the scene at the beginning with Hackman and Roy Scheider when Hackman's dressed up as Santa and they're chasing the guy down. It's great. And the rest of the movie, I mean, Popeye Doyle, he is one of those really all-time great movie heroes that goes outside the lines, but you're like, you like that with this guy. The scene when they walk to the bar and everyone immediately knows that it's Popeye Doyle, and he's got the hat, taking all the drugs and everything. Roy Scheider is great, and this was before Jaws. It's a solid movie. I've never seen the sequel because I'm like, can you do a sequel to perfection? No. So yeah, French Connection.
Austin, what do you say about the French Connection?
Yeah, I'm a big William Friedkin fan, and a huge fan of 70s Roy Scheider. I'm closing my gaps on all of 70s Roy Scheider. I just closed another one last night with Clute, which he has a side part in. But yeah, the French Connection is great, and yeah, it has some really good like cat and mouse stuff, like the sequence where they're just ducking in and out of the subway, trying to see who's gonna chicken out first, or who's gonna bluff. Yeah, the actual car chase is pretty amazing. That I think they did a lot of that for real, like in Crazy Traffic. And
well, yeah, because there was no other way to do it back then.
Yeah, they just had to do it guerrilla style. It was
they
the
just
70s.
stuck a camera on the front. We're just like, all right, drive it on, come in traffic.
And I love and I love like 70s New York. Like I think it's a fascinating time period. And now I will say you probably haven't seen it, Kearns, but I think Friedkin actually outdoes himself car chase wise in the 80s film To Live and Die in LA. He has an amazing car chase in that movie. It's more available now on Blu-ray and whatnot, but he has a scene where the dude's driving against highway traffic in LA, and it's pretty incredible. So it's really good. But yeah, as far as French Connection goes, yeah, it's an easy kind of crime action thriller. Yes, for me.
Yeah, this is one I actually rewatched for this. I've seen it once. Like the first time I'd watched it, I just wasn't that high on it. Like the car chase. The car chase is amazing. Like I'll give it some props, but like even in the rewatch, like I just didn't get into it as much as I wanted to. But like as I said, the car chase is good. Like it does have its good moments. It just didn't really work for me. I did actually, even though I've heard that the sequel isn't good, I did actually go back and watch the sequel for the first time, like because why not? Because they're both on Disney Plus for me. Yeah, the sequel's not as good. It's still somewhat fun, but yeah. I probably would have done a slight note, but French Connection is going to make the list anyway. Austin, what is?
Man, I got so many that y'all probably haven't seen that are really great that I know I'm just going to get a big old haven't seen from. So maybe I'll just shout them out in the honorable mentions and go to some go-tos. You know what? Space action is action. So Star Wars, A New Hope, kind of has to be on this list because it's a new type of action that emerged, in the 70s, a revolutionary film. Obviously, I mean, what's to say about Star Wars than it's Star Wars? But, I mean, how great is the action? You get space battles, you get, the battle, I mean, just the whole battle at the end and a lot of great kind of blaster action, some lightsaber action, all kinds of good stuff. So, I mean, you got to consider sci-fi, fantasy when we're considering these. And I think Star Wars is a pretty pivotal action movie. So, as far as that goes. So, yeah, just OG Star Wars. Why not?
Yeah. Star Wars is an easy yes for me. It's like I don't know what more there is to say about Star Wars at this point because Star Wars has come up a lot on both tournament fights and rank. We've probably said that every minute detail about it at this point. But yeah, it's great. It's a yes. Matt, what do you say about Star Wars: New Hope?
This is somebody's list, so A New Hope didn't exist until 1981, so we call it Star Wars in this house. Yeah. At least I do, because But regardless, so when I was making my list and I was looking at other lists of stuff, trying to find movies that maybe I hadn't seen or whatever, I saw Star Wars come up, and this is what I said. I said I'm not putting it on my list, but if someone brings it up, I'll say yes. It's one of those movies that just goes beyond action to me, that it just lives outside the genre, but I can't argue against the things you said, Austin. Obviously, I love Star Wars. I've talked about it on here multiple times. I'm working on a video on this movie right now. So yeah, I love the movie. I just don't think it's an action movie.
So it's going to make the list. It's back to me. But I'm going to bring up. I'll bring up this one because, as we said earlier, Howling Inferno and Fred Astaire being a random person in a movie which he's known for. I'm bringing up another one because Walter Matthau was in the original Taking the Falcon 1, 2, 3. And he's an actor that I've only known primarily for comedies. and to see him sort of randomly pop up in this action movie. Well, I mean, I knew he was in this. He's talked about it. He's appeared. We've talked about this before on a different show, but yeah, I really like the original Taking the Power Home 1, 2, 3. I know the first time I tried to watch this, I found on the site I was watching is they had just a movie called 1, 2, 3, and which got me really confused.
I like this on
uplift-
Subway here.
Oh yeah, although the movie looked really interesting because I got halfway through, I was like, I haven't seen Rotten Math yet. It's like, oh, it's just there's a different movie under the wrong title. But anyway, Matt, what do you say about the original Taking the Power Home 1, 2, 3?
I have not seen it, so I have nothing to say about it except I think what's his name is in it from Robert Shaw.
Robert Shaw is that guy.
That's all I know. I haven't seen the remake either, so don't sit there and freak out that I've seen the remake with Travolta. But I'm sure early aughts Travolta was interesting in that one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think the remake was that bad, honestly. Yeah. Austin, what do you say about the original?
Well, I'm the right guy to have on these shows, Malcolm, because what's this? Oh, my goodness. It's a Blu-ray from Kino Lorber of the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, because I love this movie. Yeah, this movie's great. Yeah, again, it's kind of a little more slow burn, heisty action, but it picks up, near the end, much like the remake does, once everything kind of goes down. But yeah, Walter Matthau is great. And yeah, Robert Shaw is an amazing villain, as he was around that time, between this and The Sting. And yeah, he does a great job. So yeah, again, I love 70s New York movies, and this fits right in with that as well. With the heist having them taking this subway hostage. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's really, really good. And again, you have to put your mind set in the 70s when you watch these movies. It's not going to be like nonstop, like when Tony Scott did the remake, and he had to kind of amp it up with some other sequences and whatnot. But it's still really, really good, and I'll always advocate for something like this. Yeah, I think I brought it up on the 70s tier ranker we did with Brian back then. Yeah, I love Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3. So yes.
That Pat is going to make the list, and Matt, we go back to you.
Jeez, we're really just running through this one. So I'm gonna bring this up because I'd be remiss if we didn't have one of the movies from this trilogy on here. I'm going with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, the Man of No Name trilogy. Western movies or action movies, and this is like the whole trilogy. I can make an argument for any one of them, but this is the best one. Obviously, this is like. Okay, I know this is the thing that kept Clint Eastwood going, because obviously Rawhide is what made him, famous. But yeah, this movie is still amazing. Everything about it, beyond just the final sequence that everyone knows, because it's iconic for a reason. But the rest of the movie is great. It's got quotable lines, gotta shoot, don't talk. Great movie, fun action, just all around solid, spaghetti western.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, what do you say about The Good, the Bad,
Well,
and the Ugly?
anybody who knows me knows I'm the spaghetti western guy of the community. I love spaghetti westerns. I love Clint Eastwood westerns. I would personally advocate if I had to get one on here, but I'm not going to be nitpicky, Matt. I would go for $3 more. I think it's the most entertaining start to finish and the better paced movie overall. But it's not taking away anything from like Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Like I said, any one of these three.
That's what I mean. If somebody's going to bring up a spaghetti western, movie and call it action because it is, yeah, I'm going to say yes to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Of course I am, because any chance to get a Clint Eastwood western on here as well, I'm going to say yes. Yeah, again, I would have brought it for a few dollars more just because I think it's the better paced and more entertaining movie overall. But yeah, I mean, you would be hard pressed to say that The Good, Bad, and the Ugly is the best technical movie.
Also,
overall. That's
the score Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
No, of course, no, and they're all great. So no, I'm not going to say no to The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Of course, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I know someone out there while I'm and screaming for dribs. I'm pretty sure he really loves this movie.
Yeah, he does. He loves the whole trilogy.
I do so.
But yeah, once again, a movie that I know I should have watched for this, but I just couldn't find it.
That's okay. You should still check them out. All three of them.
great.
Well,
Oh,
once again, like I'm not a big wrestling guy, but I'd be
I
minded to check
know.
these out too.
I
And
know.
this and I was today years old when I found out Clint Eastwood was in Rawhide.
That was where everyone knew him from, was
Mhm.
Rawhide. And
Yeah, he was like third build on Rawhide.
yeah.
It wasn't
I mean,
even like the
I
main
think
guy.
the
He was
first
like the
time I'd
side guy.
ever heard of Clint Eastwood was when he brought out Space Cowboys. I think that's the first time I ever heard of the.
Yo, that's a good movie. I saw that last year for the first time. I enjoyed it.
But anyway, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is going to make this list. Austin, what is the next movie going to bring up?
Yeah,
Who's got-
it's I don't know where to go because again, I think some of these I'm gonna get a look of I haven't seen that, so I almost just want to just leave those for the honorable mentions and just give some recommendations. So maybe I'll just go to some go tos that I know you guys have seen. So comic book action is action. So let's go Superman. From 1978, and once it gets going, it's got some pretty solid stuff. You Will Believe a Man Can Fly from Superman, and it's got some good action once it gets going here and there. Not the most like hardcore, fights and whatnot and things like that, like a Zack Snyder movie, but it qualifies as action, and why not? We'll throw Superman on here. Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, Superman is great. Like, despite what some people want to criticize the character for being boring and all that, there's a reason he made the final two of our Geek Tournament classes.
Who says
a
it's boring?
couple of nights
Show 'em
ago.
to me.
That's Jordan Anderson. Go message him.
Well, it was nice being on Movie Hero Network. So
Yeah, I know. You can go
walked
criticize
on
him
it,
next time. Next time you're on there, you can chastise him before we go
Oh, I
live.
will.
But yeah, Superman the movie is great, and it's one of those ones like if it wasn't like this is the first one that kind of proved to studios that superheroes can work as a big movie. Like so I know they tried with Superman versus the Moment or something. Then I think
Well, and you had the
Everyone is-
Batman, the 60s movie, Batman the movie, but it's more
Yeah.
like just an extended episode, essentially. Like if you could literally break that movie up into where the commercial breaks would be during that movie.
Well, actually, that movie was also being used to market the show overseas.
Yeah. But I love Superman the movie. It's going to be a yes. Matt, what do you say about Superman the movie?
All right. I have talked about this movie a plethora of times on Take 3. I cried about it when I was on Class Action when we did our Superman rankings with Mark Riley. But if we were talking Superman 2, I can see that as an action movie. I adore this movie. This movie is in my top 10 favorite films of all time. I just the stuff I could give away for Star Wars, I can't quite for Superman. So I say it's not an action. When there are other movies on my list that we're right down to the wire that I haven't been able to bring up yet that I think fit more circle into the circle hole, this one is more like octangular that you can kind of squeeze in there. But I don't see it as an action movie. I love it.
And that's entirely fair too.
It doesn't matter. It made the list.
I was going to say that. I just thought I'd get in there before anyone tries to roast you. For it was like that. Yeah, this is the decade where like action movies.
If anyone tries to roast me about Superman the movie, take a pause and go back and watch a ton of other shit that has to do with DC on this channel. Okay,
Hey, I'm sorry, but you said no on this show, so you got to live.
Therefore,
with that,
I hate the movie.
Yeah, I know you really hate
extension,
Superman. You
I
voted
hate
against
Superman
it,
as a character.
You're not a fan.
What
It's
a fucking boring
know.
asshole, am I right?
Yeah,
and
what a
Christopher
dick.
Reeve, what a dud of an actor.
Just watch. Someone's going to take that specific.
Yeah, so it's good. They're gonna be like, can you believe what Matt Clarence
Flip
said
that
about
out.
Superman? What an asshole.
But anyway, moving on. I'm gonna try for this one because this is another one that another disaster movie that I watched for the first time for this that I've been meaning to watch for the longest time, but just haven't had a reason to watch until now. And that's the OG The Poseidon Adventure with once again another Gene Hackman and
Hackman.
Leslie Nielsen.
Ernest Borgnine.
Also, Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka,
Yep.
which I didn't realize until I watched. It's like, hey, that's Grandpa Joe. But yeah, this is a really great like action movie. It's one of the it's just really well done, and I think this was like 2 years after French Connection or something like that.
No, it was the year after. It was
It was just the year
72
after.
because actually,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Hackman won his Oscar for French Connection, he was working on Sign and Adventure.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's really great, and I do think it's better than the remake. Now that I've finally seen both of them, but I still really like the remake.
Well, the remake does have Kurt Russell, so we'll always have points, even though I've never seen
So
it.
it's also got Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But yeah. So Matt, what do you say about the Poseidon Adventure?
This was going to be the movie I was going to bring up. I wanted to bring it up last round, but I really wanted to make sure I got one of the Man with No Name trilogy movies on. And no, I love this movie. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and although Dante's Peak is my favorite disaster movie, I think Poseidon Adventure is the best. I just think when you look at the cast and even for 72, those sets and those effects are fantastic. And what I really like about this movie is that Hackman board knife thing throughout the entirety of the movie, to where one scene go left, one scene go right. So you have that great kind of like interpersonal stuff, intermittent with, you know, all the bursts of like the water's rising. We gotta climb up. And this is one of those movies to where that group of people, you really like all of them. So when bad stuff happens to them, it's not like later disaster movies to where they make those characters that you hate, so you're happy when they die. You like all these people, so when they start dying, you're like, there's one at the very end that I was like, what? Why did we need that? Why did we need that? We were right there. You just wanted to fuck with us one more time, didn't you? Obviously, there are two great heroic sacrifices in the movie, which you always gotta love those in a disaster movie. So yeah, this movie is just incredible. And yeah, Leslie Nielsen was in this long before he was ever a comedy guy. He was like a serious actor. And he's in this as the captain of the ship for like the first 20 minutes.
Yep.
I also didn't realize there was a sequel to this where they went back.
Yeah, this
Beyond
is
the Poseidon Adventure. Yeah,
that movie is the one that killed Irwin Allen's disaster films, because it was so poorly received that he just didn't do any afterwards.
But Austin, what do you say about the Poseidon Adventure?
Oh, come on. I said yes to the Towering Inferno. Of course I'm going to say yes to the Poseidon Adventure. They kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, they're two of the biggest ones that they did in the 70s. I mean, there were other ones like, Earthquake and the roller coaster movie, it's just called Roller Coaster. Those other like goofy ones in the 70s. But yeah, these two were kind of the cream of the crop that, like, if you want somebody to watch a 70s disaster movie, you tell them both of these movies. Yeah, great concept. Yeah, another great ensemble of a lot of people you just recognize, and yeah, it just really, really works. No, I love this movie, and these movies still work and still hold up. So no, of course I'm going to say yes.
For that Poseidon Adventure is going to make the list. Matt, what are some honorable mentions?
I was going to say, God, we really just ran through this. So on my list, I had Force 10 from, I always screw up this Navarone, which is one of my favorite war movies of all time. Great cast. You have Robert Shaw, Harrison Ford, Carl Weathers. Really, really great war movie if you've never seen it. Then I had Smokey and the Bandit. That was one of my, like, is it not? And car chases action. But that's just a great, fun movie. Then I had On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because I wanted to throw in some from the other Bonds, and that was obviously George Lazenby's One and Done. But I love that movie mainly for my favorite Bond girl, Tracy. The Magnificent Seven, another Western movie, great movie. Steve McQueen again in that. Spy Who Loved Me, which is to me the only really good Roger Moore Bond movie made from this era. And then I had, even though I didn't like it, I put Bullet just for the car chase because it was a pioneering thing. But I watched the movie for the first time and I was like, this movie kind of sucks.
I like Bullet.
Not gonna lie, I'm sorry.
But again, I like cop movies and crime movies.
No, and again, it's just it just we can talk after the show because I honestly would like to have a longer conversation about this.
That's fine. It's been a minute since I've seen it, to be honest. I need to rewatch it.
Awesome. On
so I'll just recommend a few other things as well. The original Mechanic with Charles Bronson is pretty fun, with him just being kind of this hitman, going around killing people. Where Eagles Dare is a great Clint Eastwood war movie that it was kind of the inspiration for Wolfenstein. It has them going into a castle and this, all kinds of crazy stuff like that kind of inspired it. I'm big on Sorcerer from William Friedkin from 1977. I know a lot of people haven't seen it, so I didn't really bring it up. We did a Wheel of Movies episode on Movie Hero Network, so you can go see that when he passed away. But I love that film. I'll throw out some other Steve McQueen stuff besides Bullet. There's a movie called The Getaway that's great kind of crime thriller with him and his girl are on the run from the cops after a botched heist, and there's a lot of really great chase sequences and them just kind of constantly looking over the shoulder. It's really, really good. I think it's on HBO Max, so that's where I saw it. The original Gone in 60 Seconds is really good. It's a nice little hidden gem, which literally has a 45-minute car chase. It's like the final 45 minutes is just this dude running from the cops for all over, literally up and down like California, just like all over the place. It's great. So you can just watch it just for that alone. The OG Vanishing Point is awesome, but it's really hard to find. I bought a Blu-ray off of eBay, but it's kind of out of print and really hard to find. But the original Vanishing Point,
it might be a bootleg. Austin's
no,
not sure.
No, this is real. No, this is a real one. This is legit. No, it was the inspiration for the car and like Death Proof. Like Tarantino's a big fan of Vanishing Point, and it's this dude just hopped up on.
Tarantino's a fan of Grindhouse 70s movies.
I know.
You just
dude hopped up on amphetamines, trying to get some drugs from one place to another, and again eluding police and just driving really fast the whole time. It's really great. I love for a few dollars more, so if you had some westerns in there, Magnificent Seven or The Wild Bunch, I would have all said yes to. So there you go.
I will say, if you did bring up Sorcerer, that's one I would have given a blind yes to because I've heard a lot about it.
I know, but again, like it's not as well known. I always push for people to watch it, but I know it's also kind of hard to find sometimes. So, but I'm always pushing, especially with William Friedkin passed away. I'm like, go watch it. Everybody talks about French Connection Extras. Go watch Sorcerer. Sorcerer is awesome.
But some honorable mentions that I had. One that I'm kind of surprised Matt didn't try to argue for this time around. I know he's argued for this franchise on a few other action movies, but the first Rocky movie,
because it's not an action.
It's not an action movie.
3 and 4 are.
I thought it was you that tried. Wasn't it you that tried arguing it for 80s, or was that Cody?
No, that was Rocky 3. Probably, I would have argued.
Maybe the sequels, but the OG Rocky is a straight drama.
The first two are dramas. 3 and 4, I can make arguments for action movies. 4 in particular.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's one of those ones like it still came up on a few lists for me anyway.
Sure.
But
yeah.
I didn't bring it up anyway because like if Matt brings up, I'll probably say.
Malcolm didn't bring up because like I can't fucking listen to him talk about this shit anymore. I'm done.
No, but anyway, other ones that I had on my list that I really enjoyed the OG Death Race 2000.
I have that on DVD. I just can't grab it right now, but I have it now. It's fun.
Austin just has them in arm's reach.
No, this one's not. If I was Mr. Reed Richards, I could go grab it, but I can't right now.
But as I said earlier when I brought up Dirty Harry, Magnum Force and the Enforcer, I think are both great as well. And another sports movie that I'm now not too sure if it's considered action. It came out on a few lists as I had it here, but Rollerball I finally got around to seeing the original one.
It's
I tried to rent it, but my library didn't have it.
Yeah. And another one which I came up on a few lists, but I'm not 100% sure that it's action, but is the OG Planet of the Apes, I think, is
I saw that one and I was like, that was a Star Wars one to me. I'm like, if someone gives an argument, maybe.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say offhand. Great movie though, one of my favorite movies.
But with that, it's time to get the ranking of this. And how we do the rankings is we're going to put it on a whiteboard and vote on what we want at 12, 11, and so on and so forth. But Matt, what do you have?
Don't go to me first, please. I don't know. I try to figure out because I can't vote for movies that I haven't seen, and I like so many. All right, God. All right, I have it actually.
What do you have?
This is based solely off of the fact of when I look at the movies that are on this list from the ones I've seen, this is the one I like the least, is Enter the Dragon.
Austin, what do you have for 12?
Just because we have 2 disaster movies on the list, I'm going to go with the slightly lesser one. I'll go Towering Inferno.
Which means we're going to have a 3-hour tie because I've got Mad Max. So I'm going to go to the chat. So chat, Mad Max, Towering Inferno, or Enter the Dragon.
Malcolm is my toe cutter. I'm just going to show up. My leg's going to be in a brace.
Toe cutter is also a Morton Joe.
But it's going to be Towering Inferno.
All right.
It's nice when we have a viewer. Saves us from the wheel. That is usually in Malcolm's favor. Oddly enough. I like to think Malcolm just throws one more of his just to, give him the edge. Not really. I believe you, Malcolm, but Mad Max for you.
Well, no, lately what I've been doing is if I had to go to the wheel, I've put each option on there multiple times just so it's not like big slices.
Oh, Austin, I'm also just letting you know, me and Malcolm are going to have the same things on our boards.
I know. So, okay. So should I just pick one of those?
You probably should. Save yourself the effort.
All right, fine. Yeah, because I know Malcolm's one of those guys who will just keep it forever, and so will you. So, okay, I'll pick one.
So, hey, at least I helped you out.
All right, make it official then. Go ahead.
But, Austin, what do you have for...
I love Bruce Lee, so I'll go Mad Max. That's fine. That's fine.
You know what? This person in the chat might not be a big Bruce Lee fan.
I love Bruce Lee. I love Bruce Lee.
That's fine. I'm just saying I shot myself in the foot because maybe this person is like Mad Max is their favorite movie. So people are like, oh yeah, Enter the Dragon. I'm not putting that on. I'm not putting Mad Max all the way at 11. Mad Max was my number 1, by the way. So once again, Matt's favorite doesn't even make the top 10.
It's on the list.
Yeah, well, that's some of mine never even made the list.
Let's see here.
And sometimes some people forget about your choices and they get all the way.
Yeah, that is one of the greatest achievements I think I ever made early on this show. It's certainly one of Malcolm's top moments.
But for 10, and once again, I'm probably going to stay here for a little bit, but French Connection.
Oh God.
Matt, what do you have for 10?
Oh, okay. We're definitely going to the chat things. I'm not voting for either one of those for a while. Superman.
But chat, Enter the Dragon, Superman, or the French Connection. Which one of those do you want at 10?
Austin was like, we pushed this too far.
Then Malcolm brings up French Connection. I'm like, no, that movie's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
But Steve got in first, so it's going to be Superman.
Oh, what did that next person say?
Brian would have gone.
Steve, I don't know you, but thank you.
But Austin, what do you have for 9?
Again, I'm just going amount of action and maybe pop culture reference. Let's go Taking a Pelham for number 9.
French Connection. Matt.
You know what?
God damn it.
Enter the Dragon, Taking a Pelham.
No, I'll say Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3. I don't want this whole thing decided in the chat.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be if you don't start changing your answer.
Well, like I said, I don't like voting for movies that I've never seen.
Just
I'm gonna
vote.
make
You got to
past
vote
judgment.
regardless. You're going to have to.
Yeah,
Well,
but that's different when I'm forced to. That's a completely different thing.
I will
Fine,
say,
you know what?
The chat would have agreed anyway.
See, there you
Oh,
go.
well, there we go.
So,
All right.
See?
so you really would have been fired. If you, but taking a power on 1, 2, 3. I never know if it's numbers or what written out, but
You should do both.
What's my Blu-ray say? Let's see.
Malcolm, when you do the poll, I want you to do
So
both.
on the Blu-ray, it's 1, 2, 3 spelled out. So there you go.
No, but I want you to spell it out and then do the numbers.
No, it's
We'll also
fine.
throw all the numerals in there.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't. It was. I think it was the remake that was numbers or something.
I think the remake did the numbers just to be different. Yeah.
Yeah. But Austin, what do you have for 8?
This might hurt me, but just because I like for a few dollars more better. Let's go Good, Bad, the Ugly.
French Connection, Matt.
Apocalypse Now.
Mm.
There we go. I changed my board.
Yeah, we still have a tie.
Yeah.
But we've got Apocalypse Now, Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and the French Connection. Which one of those do you want at 8?
Nothing.
And it's going to be Apocalypse Now.
Hey.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right.
And I mean, for me personally, part of the reason I don't change my board a lot if I really want to stick with something is more. I've got more time to write the banners than having to push on my board as well.
That's fine.
I mean, I'm just petty sometimes. I might have seen every movie on the list, but if I really
I'm not really
if I
like.
really don't like something, then I'm like,
I'm not really married to the rankings of this list this time. It's like I'm happy with all the movies that made it tonight, so it's fine. Yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah, no, it's one of those.
I
ones
have a
like,
sneaking suspicion this is going to be the one when you put up the poll, Malcolm, that you're not going to get a lot of pushback on.
Yeah,
Just have a sneaking suspicion.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Well,
like.
I mean, to be fair, we've got a lot of these movies are probably a lot of people have probably seen other than some of the lesser known 70s.
You'll probably get more of the Star Wars action.
No,
but French Connection, Matt.
I changed it back to Enter the Dragon.
Oh, cool.
Well, that's also now at this point, the movies I've seen, I just think are better than.
Well, and just so Malcolm could change his board, French Connection. I just didn't want it out of the top 10.
Yeah, because I'm looking at what we have left. It's Goldfinger, Enter the Dragon, Dirty Harry, Star Wars, Good, the Bad,
and Poseidon.
Yeah, and Poseidon, which I'm just like, sorry. Now Austin, I'm not changing my board because of lack of choice. Now it's just ain't putting this above any of them. Watch it become number 3, Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
That's a reference to Rankum of the past.
All right.
But Austin, what do you have for 6?
Now, so Matt can change his thing. Let's go into the Dragon.
I mean, weirdly enough, I was going to go into the Dragon too.
There you go. I just had to wait till it got a little further down the list because it's really good. So that's all, and then I'm okay with it. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
All right.
Just wanted a little further than like number 12 or something. Just a little further.
That's fair enough.
I mean, for me, and for me personally, like the ones that I've seen that I haven't, that are left on this list, like I really like. So it's like I don't want that much.
Yeah.
But I'm gone Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Matt.
All right. Now that we're in the top 5, I'm going to be strictly on action. I am going Star Wars because.
Austin.
Good, Bad, Ugly.
Do.
Oh, there.
I was like, that's a lot.
Well, that's more of a case like every time I typed it, like I was about to put it up, then I realized like I put a random K in there some.
Yeah.
The gook.
And the Uckley.
The ugly.
Uckley.
That's like when you
That's
buy the
real.
bootleg DVD off of eBay. That's what it says. The gook.
Mhm.
The ugly.
Funny enough, that was where the K went.
Yeah.
That's exactly. But Austin, what do you have for?
Goldfinger.
I also went Goldfinger. Matt.
You people put the franchise that made the genre at 4?
Yeah, and it's got plenty of movies to go around, so it's fine.
I don't even care.
Mhm.
Whatever. I was like, oh, well, that is clearly number 1. I just feel like everybody knows.
Yeah, it might be.
I give up.
But Matt, what do you have for 3?
Star Wars.
Austin, what do you have?
Dirty Harry.
I actually went the Poseidon Adventure. So chat, the Poseidon Adventure, Dirty Harry, or Star Wars at 3. Which one? And Steve got in first. It's going to be the Poseidon Adventure. But yeah, there's at least one person for each of them.
Yeah, right. So now it's number 1, right?
Yep. So it's between Dirty Harry or Star Wars. But Austin, what do you have for number 1?
Star Wars.
I actually went Dirty Harry. Matt.
Dirty Harry.
I thought he was going to accidentally leave Star Wars on there and vote for number 1.
That'd be funny, actually.
That would be funny. Let's start Dirty Harry. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Wait.
Well, I mean,
shit.
I could totally see myself to where I'm just like, you know what? Between the two, the one I've been trying to get lower, I actually think is better.
Yeah.
I buy that.
It's all good.
Myself.
Again, I'm not really married to the rankings on this list. It's fine. So yeah, it's all good.
I mean, no, this is one like on my personal list, like Star Wars is probably higher, but I thought for number 1, like I'll go for the.
It's not as clear cut as like if you do 90s and it's like T2 is always number 1, or like 80s is either like Die Hard or Predator or something like that. You know, like
yes, people. That's another thing. You were gonna clip out Superman. Like, you don't even start with me. Like, Star Wars is like my first and forever love. It's just
I don't know, man. He's got some hot takes on this thing.
Yeah,
like,
I hate Superman the movie. I hate Star Wars.
Yeah,
that Jaws, I didn't even bother bringing up.
He just all of a sudden turned against all of his favorites tonight. I don't know what happened.
Favorites? They're not my favorites. I hate Star Wars. I hate it so much. Oh, disgusting.
But with that, our top 12 action movies are 60s and 70s. At 12, we've got The Towering Inferno. At 11, we got Mad Max. At 10, we got Superman the movie. At 9, we got Taking the Pelham 1, 2, 3. At 8, we got Apocalypse Now. At 7, we got French Connection. At 6, we got Into the Dragon. At 5, we got The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. At 4, we got Goldfinger. At 3, we got The Poseidon Adventure. At number 2, we got Star Wars: A New Hope. And number 1, we got Dirty Harry. But with that, as I said earlier, next week we're doing top 12 Robin Williams movies. So that should be a lot of fun because there's definitely a lot of good ones out there. There's also a lot of bad. Matt, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Kearns_Matthew. You can also find me on Threads at something. I keep forgetting that exists, but I should probably start marketing in case Twitter just dies. You can also find me on YouTube at MattMovie611 and right here as host of Second Look. The next episode I'm working on is on Jaws 3, which I'm really excited about because that movie is one of the reasons why I made Second Look a show. So look forward to that. If that's, I'm just saying I have a take on that movie that I have not seen
that movie's a snooze fest, bro.
anyone on it. I look forward to that video. And then you can also find me as the host of Simple Tricks and Nonsense with Abe Flores. We had an episode the other day. Hopefully we'll be back on a better schedule, but that's just always a good time. I'm just still in shock about Goldfinger at 4. What?
Austin, we can people find you online.
Yeah, mostly over on the Movie Hero Network, which you can tune in for. Both these guys above me have been on there before and make sporadic appearances here and there. So yeah, you can see us over there. We got tournament fights, tier ranker fights, Wheel of Movies this week, Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast if you're into wrestling, podcast about movies with me and Jacob Barber, Seen and Heard Trivia, which we're in the middle of our tournament right now, and we just had a tournament match last night, so you can check that out. Some of our exhibition matches as well. So lots of stuff going on. Subscribe to the Movie Hero Network. Thanks.
And you can find me on TV Productions. Next week we're doing Top 12 on Williams movies, as I mentioned earlier. But you can also find me popping up on Movie Hero Network as well. You'll be popping up in a probably around 9:30ish with Jordan as he draws the movies they're going to be on this week's mystery tournament. And then I'll be helping him co-host the TV series of the 2000s to now, which he's told me he's got to split into 2 parts because there's just a lot of TV shows that came out. But you can also find me popping on Full Metal Trivia as I host trivia matches over there. And yeah, but until next time, see you at the movies as I find a clip out on.
See you at the
Close up shop. Close up shop. Close up shop.